habit of I want to get back in the habit of start talking about listings and how people are getting listings and going back in time, because we're taking it for granted how we're getting customers, and when the markets change, whether they're slow or fast, and whether the market's slow or fast, and if you're not in the zone or in the business mindset, you got to figure out how to get your business. And how you get your business are, I probably heard 7 different ways. You wear a t-shirt with your face on it, for God's sake, and you have a smile in the gym, and you start talking that way. You hold an open house, and you meet people there, and as Sonny said, you stay in touch, and you stay in touch. You go to a conference like Foster did, and you have a lot of fun. You share your style with people that are across this country, and because somebody over there is going to know somebody moving here, or know somebody that's here moving over there, and the person that they're going to think of is the person they had fun with at the conference. But always be prospecting, because if you're not prospecting, you're going to go backwards. And I promise you, my job in this company mainly is I'm the get, keep, and grow. And I'm always prospecting. I prospect off of the machine here with my database management system, and I prospect off of my paper list that I print from my database management system, because it's just the way that my simple brain works. Sometimes I like looking at a list. Sometimes I like looking at it on the screen or on my iPhone or iPad. But I have systems in place that get me to do what sometimes I hate doing, because nobody likes picking up the phone sometimes and phoning somebody that they haven't talked to for a bit, and just trying to just re-say hello and engage them to see if they have somebody that's interested in buying and selling real estate. We all like, there's some, I mean, there's some weathered people or aged people in this business that have been doing it for a while, and I think even one of them is like Paul. If I'm assuming Paul, I know, I've known him personally, I know how long he's been in the business, but Paul isn't just waiting for phone calls to ring. Like, what do you do, Paul, to remind people of what you do?
Well, that t-shirt idea is pretty good. I might start doing that around town. It's a bit cold for sleeveless these days, but well, I'll get a few made up. Yeah, I mean, if I was to think back, I mean, my database now is quite good, but if I was to think back about, well, I won't mention how long, but you just shake hands with people and let them know what you're doing, and over time it grows, right? If someone has some commonalities with you and they enjoy your company, then they'll use you in business. I went to every single conference I could go to. I still do. That networking piece is huge for a few reasons. And any functions I can go to in my community, I try and attend as well. You know, these days there's Instagram, Facebook, and a lot of digital marketing that people are using, and that works too. So a little bit of everything that you can think of is what it takes to really kind of get things moving, right?
Yeah, it's you can't do this from your bedrooms, right? I mean, I've had a great conversations with Deanna prior to her joining, and since she's joined, been in the business for almost a year in Saskatoon, and she got her business from mostly open houses. Isn't that correct, Deanna? Yeah. So you learn how to do a skill like that really well, and you impress the hell out of everybody that comes through your door, because you don't know if they're buyers, you don't know if it's the seller, if it's not, if you're hosting an open house for a fellow agent. But Yana, what was one of you, what are some of your tricks to the trade when you're hosting an open house? How to get the information out of the person that's walking in the door?
I wanted to share how I got my cold contact, absolutely cold contact sale, if I may. One of my colleague agent asked me to do a viewing because he was away. and it was his listing, and he was selling trailers. I didn't even know there are trailers in Saskatoon, so I went. There was a guy. It was a bit strange because I never saw trailers in my life. It looks like a house, and the guy was kind of hesitant. He was in Saskatoon for 10 months. He didn't even have permanent resident yet. But I knew he has a very good job, like BHP company. I don't know if you guys heard. It's Australian company that does potash in Saskatchewan. They colonizing the whole province right now, and they pay really well. So I knew that. And he was looking for his first place, a trailer. And I said, hey, you have a really good job. Why do you need a trailer? You can afford a nice place. Let's move from trailers and start looking for a decent house. And he was like, can I? Can I? Do you think I can? I said, absolutely, you can. So we found him a nice mortgage broker. And yeah, in 2 months, he had a fantastic house. I'm very envious. I'd like a house like that, but I don't work for BHP and I'm very new. So hopefully one day. But yeah, that's how I just said, why do you need a trailer? Come on. You have a money, right? So that was my trick.
And then Armand, you do a lot of, we got a background shit. Give me a second. Armand, you do a lot of pre-sales. So how are you getting your buyer at the very beginning, right? At the very beginning, when you came in, you started, as I recall, it was mostly pre-sale business. So how are you finding buyers for your pre-sales?
Well, the first ones that I started was very right after I got my license, and I remember some of my old colleagues that they were looking for a pre-sale in downtown, and they couldn't get it, and they thought it sold out, and they really wanted to get to that building. And the first thing I think I did was trying to find. I thought they sold that as well. They were close to the completion, but I found some assignments. I talked to them, but then I found like they still have units left. Usually the developers, they keep a few units for whether they can sell it or they keep it for the completion. And I started talking to the developer, and when I found out, and the ones that they leave it for the completion, usually you can negotiate it with them. You can get the like the best incentives, the prices, and so I told them, because they really wanted to live in that building, they got it. Some people, they do the pre-sale for investment, so they buy it. They have to buy it like right when they start the sale. But because these guys, they wanted, I had two, so that was how I got into pre-sale. And now I do online ads a lot, different ones and basically based on the good projects that they come to the market, I do that. And among like everyone now, they know me. I do pre-sales, and if anyone wants, and you gotta have kind of different criteria, different things if you're going for pre-sale compared to resale. A lot of people, they go that to direction recently because of the mortgage rate. A lot of people got motivated for that, and kind of they come to me for pre-sale.
So here's the first question is, you said it, that it was an old client of yours from a previous business that you did. So how did you tell them that you're in the business? Like, how did you get your sphere of influence to know that you made a switch into real estate? What did you do?
Oh, that was the kind of the first thing. I just start calling them, all the people that I knew. I made a list of all the people that I know, yeah, and in Vancouver, and I just made sure, like even the friends of friends, as long as I met them once. So I start calling them. I said, yeah, how are you doing? And Yeah, anything they ask me, and then I start conversation. Yeah, I got into real estate. I just got my license. I do this, and I want to focus on this and that. But because the old colleagues, they are a friend of mine, and we were talking a lot, and I knew they're interested in a specific projects. So they were kind of ready to just purchase, and yeah, that was my main focus, to find something for them.
Okay, and then Amir, that's I was gonna say, Amir, what was your tagline as the beginning? Just
Oh,
hit the cat.
mine was realtor with a hat. That was the thing that I did during COVID. And I actually, when I used to go out for walks and stuff, I actually got recognized. So that was kind of interesting. So yeah, that happened. That helped me a lot. And I, yeah, like, and initially I got the license 2019 November. March we hit COVID, so I really was kind of like struggling a lot. So I went into the pre-sale route as well, starting advertising a lot with that, and that's how I got a lot of leads. Not necessarily made a lot of pre-sales, but got a lot of leads through that too. So,
Well,
yeah.
nothing's. A lot of people think that when they get a lead, whether it's from an online lead, a YLOPO, an agent locator, Facebook Marketplace, that it's instant gratification. But it's not. But occasionally they are. I mean, and we're doing very well on those ourselves. But if you stay in touch like Sunny says, and you send the birthday cards, and you send 3-month reminders, you're going to stay in front of mine. You're gonna stay in front of them as long as you try, right? But if you just do the lead and throw it away and ignore it, this business isn't going to be as rewarding for you as for the other person's actually trying to make relationships. You got to learn their birthdays. You got to learn their anniversaries. You got to learn their kids' names. You got to understand what they do for a living, and keep in touch with that and being engaging. Hey, Hannah.
Yeah.
How did you get your first customer?
Open house.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Your first customer, open house. Holy
Open
shit.
house.
Those
Yeah.
work. So I think so far we've got 8 ways that we haven't invented anything new. We're not spending $1 billion online. We're not killing a bunch of trees yet and doing flyers, but these things, they all work. We're basically picking up the phone, telling people that we know what we do, and shut up for 3 seconds and see if they have somebody for us or they want to use us. When we meet somebody, we put them into a database. We stay in touch with them within that system, because if you don't use the database right now, you're not going to make it in this business. And I don't think there's anybody here right now that is not using some sort of database system. And I'm saying, if you're touching Excel, you're going the wrong way really fast. But you have to have it into some sort of touch point customer relation management program that's actually going to do action plans for you. One of the other ones I wanted to bring up, and I have a whole list I'm going to read to you guys at the end of this, and I'm going to share it with you, because these are all the ideas that I could ever come up with prospecting. And I don't think anything's changed since the last time I've done it, except for maybe people are starting to listen a little bit more. Because how I wanted to start this conversation was, I didn't want to tell you what to do, because you never listened to me half the time. I wanted you to hear from people that actually got the success of how they did it, so you can nod your head and say, okay, well, if it worked for our man, and if it worked for Amir, and if Muscle Man James can wear a tank top in a gym and make friends that turn into 10 transactions, I mean, holy shit, you guys should be running out of ink in your pens, writing the notes down, and making sure that that this is working. Tyson, I see Tyson's up there. I know he's done a couple of deals now. Tyson, how did you get your first deal?
Yeah, through an open house as well, actually. Yeah, through meeting somebody.
Yeah. And what was your
Yeah.
trick to meeting them?
Honestly, it's just about connection. Just talking through and trying to find a connection with somebody. And for sure, I'm agreeing there. Persistence is key.
Yeah. And what was the first value of that transaction?
The first one was just under 800. It's like 7.
Only 800,000. I mean, Jesus, guys, that's a ton, right? I mean, and I struggle with some people that are doing open houses that aren't taking that role seriously. And I think what you need to do is anytime someone walks in your door, you got to treat them like they're the owner of the property, and you know they're the owner, but you're not telling them you know, and you want to impress them because you want to be able to present the product that you're representing and put your hand out there and say, hello, my name is, and get their information back. Don't just simply hand them a business card and expect them to call you or expect them to type it into their database, because I promise you it won't happen. But I promise you, if you have a way to get their first name, get their phone number, say, if you want my card, send them your V card, because you have to send it to either their email or their phone number to pass on the data. You've trapped him. Trapped is the wrong word. Now you've got some sort of database off that person. Make sure that you have a feature sheet that's electronically saved in your phone or your iPad. So when you run out of print material, you can just send them an electronic feature sheet, and that way you've got something back from them. It's all about that starting of that relationship. And I don't want you to be their best friends, because you're not. And I don't want you to act like that, because people can sense it. You're a service provider, asking them questions of what they're looking for, asking them if you can explain what they're in, and tell them the lay of the land, and follow up, because chances are that person might not buy the home that you're representing, but if they do, that's fantastic. That's what you're there for. But you're helping them and everybody else in the future know and you're helping them and everybody else that they know to use you as the real estate professional. Because on the screen here, I've got some people that have been in the business for a long time that are really marketing to their sphere of influence now, and they're not spending a lot of time trying to get new customers on the outside. But you should always put that effort in. And I don't care if you've been in the business for 20 years. Always put the effort in of wearing that funny t-shirt in the gym, because somebody that you don't know will approach you. Wear the hat when you're in the elevator, because I know Amir got a deal from that because someone recognized him as the realtor with the hat. Wear a jacket when you walk the seawall with your name on it and your personal logo or your business logo, because someone's going to ask you a question as it pertains to real estate, because everybody does. When I travel, I have it on my phone, I have it on my laptop, I have it on my iPad, because I wear a baseball hat when I go in the pool so I don't burn my bald spot. But the whole idea is people come up to you and they ask you questions about real estate. We're a magnet when it comes to that. Does anybody else have before I go through a list, and then I want to go through a list about getting ready for 2024. But I want to make sure that I'm not giving you guys the message that this year is over. There's still 2 full months to do a lot of business and get yourself ready for the next year. But does anybody else that's a good showing here today that have any other little tips that how they got their first customer that they think that they should be going back and redoing or trying it again, or sharing with the team? Well, once. James, how did you get your first customer? Can you remember that far back?
Yes, my first customer was actually in my building. And I just pounded the pavement and made sure everybody knew what I did for a living.
Okay.
And walking billboard. And I didn't have the t-shirt at the time. And that one deal, that was the first one. And since then, and not to toot my own horn, but since then I've done 14 deals in that same building. And all because of, you know, talking to everyone, walking, talking, whatever. And people were always watching what I was doing, every little thing, you know, you're always on display. And I have another one coming up in about a month.
And then how were you marketing to the building? What was, because I've known James for 10 years. We interviewed, he went somewhere else, then he went somewhere else, and then he came here. But he would, yeah, so how did you market to your building?
So, I mean, I sent a flyer out to the building and just basically letting everybody know what I do. And, you know, at the time I didn't, you know, really know, other than I just made a point of talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Seriously, I do to this day. I just talk to everybody nonstop.
Okay, well, that's,
My
you know,
market.
I've always said that the biggest cost to this business is your time, so you use it wisely. And if you're living in a strata tower, absolutely see what you're allowed to do to communicate with your fellow neighbors. If there's a posting board, I think some of these buildings now that have these personal little TV boxes for ticker tapes and the news that you can put your ads up, I think that's a really good spend, because you're in front of your your tower, and you want to make it sure that it's not too wordy, but they just know it's James in real estate and they can relate to it. We had a guy in this office who's since retired, John McCabe, and John McCabe lived in this tower, 488 Helmkin, and he dominated the tower. There wasn't any real estate transactions, or very, very few, that actually happened in 488 without him knowing it, because he got involved in the tower, he got involved in the yards around the tower, he was on strata, and so he just became that face for a while. And even when he moved from 488 to in the marina side somewhere, he still did all the business. We had a guy, Stan Mortison, who has since retired. Stan and John Stanger, they were amazing gentlemen. They were like the two old cronies from Sesame Street that used to sit in the balcony and they would heckle everybody. They just had great personalities. And Stan dominated 4 towers in the West End, who he never lived in. He never lived in the towers, but he got to know the strata. He hosted Christmas parties in there. He hosted, I think, 2 events in each tower for something. And Stan was just a jolly old guy. I think he was a retired police officer, had something to do with that back in the day. But people just loved Stan until, until he retired. He was making a real, and he retired at 80 something. He was making a really good life, and it was an easy transaction for him, because he based his business on relationships. And I still see that today. We have umpteen towers downtown Vancouver. You could pick 2 or 4. You can target them with mailers. You can target them with knowing who's in that building. Find your friends that live in a tower and start focusing on that. And if you become the face for that structure, you could carve out yourself a very good niche and then decide to expand on that. So does anybody else have just looking at all the lists and the faces? Okay, so I think I've got that covered. Anybody got any questions for me so far? I'm gonna read you my list, and then I'm gonna go for preparing for your 2024 and getting ready. So and some of these are going to be repetitive, but I'm going to read them anyway. You got to present yourself. You got to be ready when you get out of bed and you get out of your house to look like you're in the business. But if you're going to the gym, look like you're going to the gym, and have something on you, water bottle, gym bag, shirt that says what you do. You'll get some attention. Get up early. There's no business under your sheets. Always promise that you're in the service business, not the sales business. If you want a lead generation software, YLOPOL, Agent Locator are the 2 of the ones that I see the most in our backyard. And we have agents here that also have lead gen systems. If you want to talk to them, you gotta have a CRM, a database management system. Otherwise, all your effort's going to be forgotten. Hang on, I just lost it. I crested the bird. You got to show up to work because you never know if someone. We're getting some walk-in business now because we've got some new signage downstairs. So if you want to show up and get on a floor shift, you're more than welcome to. Sorry for not looking up. Host open houses. Everybody that I know that I've hired in their first year that's made $100 grand right out of the chute in their first 12 months did a lot of open houses, and a lot of them started 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. They figured out how to space their time so they're not running late for it. But open houses, if you don't know anybody, if you don't know anybody in the marketplace, it's a great way to start meeting people. If you want, and if you got nothing to do and you know someone needs a shadow person or something, go buddy up with somebody, watch a good realtor do open houses. That's probably a really nice way of learning your best practices going forward. Do some flyers, do some brochures, market when you're doing an open house. I think your best spend, from my understanding of an app that we have called Back at You Media, is to make sure that you're registered to Back at You Media, because it's producing content, generic content, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas and stuff, to do subtle reminders to your sphere of influence. But when you get a listing, it's going to promote your listing because it's got your V number in there. Boost the spend $200, get in front of close to 10,000 more eyes who don't know you, that are looking for real estate around that sphere of your listing. When you get a sale, you do the same thing. If you're going to do an open house, spend $25 and get in front of 1,000 people to promote your open house, because that is your job. Social media, it's no longer the tricky beast that it is. We've got all the sites that we need to know. Make sure your profile is on there, it's clean, your picture's updated, your links are there, your phone numbers are there, your website HTML code's there. You want to drive traffic to it. Promote somebody else's business. I mean, there are restaurants that you go to that you have great service. I mean, I'm not going to give you them all. Promote that restaurant. Tell the restaurant owner that you promoted it. They'll promote you because you promoted it, because they're getting some press. Car salesmen, painters, lawyers. Spend some time with these types of trades that you have a relationship with, and tell people who are the good service providers, because there are a lot that need your help. And if you think that you're helping them, they'll help you back. Does that make sense? Right? It's not all about us, right? It can't be all about us. If you have a case in point, I had a friend who had great car service. We both had the same cars, and he went to the dealership. They didn't like what the dealership was saying. He went to another place that was recommended. They did an amazing job. I didn't take my wife's car to that dealership anymore because these guys just did a better job. And that's how you guys are going to get more business. Do the better job, because someone's going to recommend you. We have this connections program for that you guys can save money on personally. Buy stuff at the Brick, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You can rent cars, buy cars, stay at hotels cheaper. You have all these discount codes. If you got nothing to say on social media, promote one of those codes and say, hey, if anybody's interested in buying appliances, I have a discount with the Brick. Come and talk to me. I'll give you the code. And I bet hopefully we can save your money on your next purchase, because they sell everything. Same thing with Hearst Rental Car, and I forget what other ones are there, but there's a whole bunch there. 1-800-GOT-JUNK. If anybody's doing 1-800-GOT-JUNK, I think we have these $50 gift cards to save you $50. So if I knew I was going to get some junk and I use 1-800-GOT-JUNK, that did it in the office and stuff, I used the gift cards because I had a gift card, or I knew that somebody had the gift card. For the newer people, or even, I don't care who, write down the first 100 names that come to your head without your phone, without your computer, and phone 100 people that you know. I dare everybody to do that. Phone 100 people that you know just to say hi. And I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your aunt, your cousin. Just phone them and say hello, because I'm willing to bet if you all contacted and spoke to 100 people, you're going to get a couple of nuggets out of that. 100 people will take you probably maybe a week of doing phone calls if you do it an hour a day, just to get a hold of them, because the people that you know will phone you back. I also think you should start promoting the mortgage brokers, the lawyers in real estate, the insurance agents in real estate, because they're in our business. There might be an opportunity for them to give you back business, but don't expect it. I expect you guys to give out a service provider because they're great service providers, because they're going to enhance your service, not because you're going to get a couple bucks under the carpet. That's the wrong message. It's the wrong message to do. And I think we're all better than that. There's people out there that do it. Don't be those people. You gotta market your successes. You gotta win, and whether it's in real estate or a sport or a charity that you're in, make sure that you're promoting what it is that you're doing. Make sure, please, that you give it to us, you give it to Natalia, you give it to Angel, so we can also promote you on our platforms. We have a lot of people following us now. We've got some good eyes on it, and I'm offering that to you all, because you deserve to be recognized. You deserve the awards levels that you achieve. And if you try, we're going to try with you. I guarantee it. So I'm going to send that list off to you. I probably combed through about a quarter of it, but there's a whole bunch of little talking points of different ways to prospect. Does anybody have any questions for prospecting for me? How about the Hannah the cat? Are you okay? Halloween's her favorite time of year. So now we've got 2024 coming around the corner, and I hope everybody has the common sense to at least put something on their wall to say what do they want to accomplish next year. And it could be number of transactions, it could be gross closed commission earnings, it could be I want to get into pre-sale more, I want to get into farming more, but everybody's got a goal. And business planning is to me, it is not rocket science, but you have to start with a goal, and then you have to work backwards to see how you're going to get to the goal. And then you can, and I'll work with everybody and anybody on this on a one-on-one basis, and we'll cut the path all the way back, and we'll see where we have to go. The path's is going to tweak a little bit, but once you know where your goal is, you have a target. It's easier to hit the target when you have a target than when you just say nothing and just want to go after your business on a day-to-day basis. There are some really cool stuff in online office, and I wanted to share it with you. Hub 21. In Hub 21, there's the image library. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah, there's our image library. In the image library, you have all sorts of images that are free to use within the system. My code wasn't working here today because we've got it reset, but it's all there in your Hub 21. Your campus TV is an amazing portal for every type of Kool-Aid you guys can possibly think. So from showing you how to use the tools that the Century 21 platform has, from the testimonial tree to your CRM, to your marketing center, to all the presentations that are at your fingertips to make your data look better. But the ones I think you guys should be looking at are the coaching programs that are out there. These guys are amazing. Chris Leader, I'm a huge fan. Kathleen Black, Richard, I am. Anyway, they're all good. There's some guys I personally can't relate to, and if the ones I can relate to aren't from you, you have a choice of great speakers that are in this system, that their sole purpose is to engage you, to make you think like a real estate professional, and to help you achieve your goals and be more efficient and be more professional in your business. So I think if you guys spend some time on that, grab yourself a coffee, grab yourself a beer, Let me get out of here. Don't know how to get out of there. Grab yourself a coffee, a beer, glass of wine, and go through. Some of the stuff is 20 minutes, some of this stuff is 45, but it is well worth your time to spend it in this area, because they spend a lot of money. They spend a ton of money on this system, and I would hate for you guys never to see it, because it's important to see. Anybody have any questions for me going forward? Anybody have any tips and tricks for business planning? There's a business planning page in that hub that I showed you. I think, stop sharing, there we go. I think I think that is a good start for a 60-day look at your business plan for next year. I want you guys to look at that, because we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what you went through, what you liked, what you didn't like. And I think our next meeting, or in the next couple, are going to be goal setting, and then start to figure out how to get to the goal setting. In this next week coming up, we've got Jimmy, I forget Jimmy's last name, the accountant that's going to talk about taxation and best practices. There's a lot of you this year that got some pretty decent checks and a lot of checks. So I want to make sure that you're ready for the taxman when he or she comes. And I want him to be able to explain to you all what you can and what you can't write off. What are the gray areas? So you're all prepared. And he's also looking for business from you. But the point for him sitting here next week is for him to earn that trust to get business from you. But if you have an accountant, these are questions for you to engage with your own accountant of how you should be set up for the 2023 tax. He's also a PREC specialist, so he'll tell you the pros and cons about that, and if there's anything new with the tax write-offs that are coming from there, because there are we've got quite a few PRECs in this office, and the last thing I want you guys to do is pay more taxes than you should. How was that today, guys? Is that all right? On a scale of 1 to 2. A 3. I got a 3 from Muscles. Thank you, my friend. You're always my favorite. Does anybody have any questions for me? I didn't want to kill us with the list. Going once? No, I'll get the list out to you guys. Angel and I just have to doctor it up a bit. But if you did 20% of what's on that list, if you just pick 20% of the items to do for prospecting, I'll guarantee you your world will be a lot better next year. Absolutely, because there's nothing on that list that does not work. And the only thing that's not going to work on that list is lack of effort. And I've always said that you got to have the effort and commitment and a routine to get ahead in this business, because it's not rocket science. It's just good service, good support, good camaraderie, and building a trust and not overpromising your services, right? And just be good honest people and abide by the rules and regulations of the code of conduct that we have. So thank you for your time. Paul, do you have anything to say? Sorry, I'm quoting at you. I hope you were there. Do you have anything to say about interest rates and
yeah, I mean, other than Prime staying where it is last week, which I think was great news for consumers looking forward. I mean, we've said this a few times, but we should be near the peak. The recession word is being talked about more and more. We're almost in a second quarter of no growth, so tough to raise rates anymore during a recession. So in my opinion, and in our business collectively, rates going down is a really, really good thing. The bond market was trending down last week, so we haven't seen fixed rates move yet, but I would imagine if it continues to move down, we'll see some rate pressures come down. I'm really looking forward to 2024. I think it's going to be an extremely busy year for everybody. Listings are already up. As long as rates start doing what we hope they will do, it's going to be exceptional. And business planning, like you said, Mike, I usually start mine in November, December. So we hit the ground running in January. So those were all really good points. And for me personally, I'm just here to help you guys and girls with your business. So if you have any needs whatsoever, whether it's support with marketing, whether it's just answering questions about clients' inquiries, we've got marketing materials that we can help you with your open houses on, which give details on the financing aspects of the purchase itself. So reach out to me anytime. I'm always available, lunch, coffee, whatever it is. Okay. So I'm here and hope to see you guys all around soon in the office. And geez, it's almost Christmas. So Christmas party coming up, I'm sure.
Yeah, Christmas party's the 14th of December. It's a Thursday at Mahoney's. Great venue, great view, easy in and out. So we'll be posting that out there pretty soon. And we're gonna do once the windows are getting done in the dishwasher, in fridge, freezer, ice maker, and which is going to be the end of this week, we'll do our wine and cheese. Just gotta get ready for it. It's all done, so it's proper for you guys. So business planning, as I said again, it starts with thinking about it now. You can't do a business plan in the last week of December. It's just not going to work. You got to go back into what you did for your successes and start rethinking about when you're going to launch those efforts. And for those that are brand new, it's just a typical goal setting and looking from your peers of how they got their first piece of business and start acting on those on a regular basis. All right, guys, everybody have a good week. Enjoy the last day of sun, unfortunately, from what I heard. So don't step on these spiders right now. And if you need me, reach out. I'd love to talk to you.